What are you curious about?
Dementia is a sorry state. It robs you of your memora. You never know the present date. The past becomes ephemera. The future lies ahead, they say. Tomorrow is another day. They lie. Tomorrow's like the snow when springtime comes to make it go. The instant of the sun's first ray, tomorrow's name becomes today. You live from now till all time hence in a constant present tense. When my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, I tempered my shock by denying that this was a tragic turn of events. Hey, I thought this is a gift. Dad'll be relieved of the haunting ghosts of the past and the looming demons of the future. He'll live in a blissful here and now. We should all be so lucky. Yes, bend down, breathe in, and smell the roses blooming just beneath our noses. Take a drag and inhale deep, and pray the Lord your soul to keep. Or if, like me, you'd rather pray to mountains or a well-made play, or if your spirit soars aloft, less in a pew than in the soft embrace of samba, or perhaps the call of temple bells in Parsifal, you'll join me singing hymns in winter to the ghost of Harold Pinter. Then we'll praise George Balanchine, the saffron thread, the coffee bean. The Kubler-Ross model says denial is the first of the 5 stages of grief. Denial numbs our pain, or at least deflects it. But while I was grieving my father's condition, I wasn't denying it. In fact, I'd quashed my grief by celebrating it. Picasso, Chekhov, Frank Lloyd Wright, McCartney, Lennon, Three Dog Night. All you fans of opera bouffa, make some room for François Truffaut. Sit ye down and take a lesson from Sir Henri Cartier-Bresson. Sip the wisdom of Spinoza, gorge on shumai dipped in gyoza, sing the ode to joy in German. No, wait. I found that as I observed my father and other Alzheimer's patients in various moods and states of health, I couldn't really tell where they felt themselves to be in a time continuum. And I worried for myself. Was dementia in the blood? Would I someday lose my own memory? Now I wasn't celebrating, I was trembling. I am suddenly touched by the darkest suspicion that all that I've said is just wishfully wishing, that losing my memory is God's plan for me, when I don't even think there's a God in the sea, or the sky, or on land in a chariot riding. Dementia's a bitch, and there's no use in hiding the truth that it's no gift sent down from on high, or that present sensations suffice. That's a lie. What gift takes away all we've treasured in life, erases our husband and blots out our wife, makes the children we've raised and protected from dangers come before us not loved ones, but absolute strangers? If anger is the 2nd stage of grief, I guess I was in it now, since to harden myself against my fears, I was working up a hearty rage. And in my photographs and my poetry, rage was pouring forth. So give us this day and our daily bread too. But don't make believe that the world's born anew every morning. It's not. We're just one whole day older, wiser, we hope, and stronger and bolder. Than what, though? Than yesterday? That we can't answer, except to affirm that dementia's a cancer which kills off our knowledge of which is more rotten, a bad day remembered or one that's forgotten. Saying it's moot is a cowardly ruse, denying that we'd rather keep what we lose. Declaring dementia's a gift in disguise is like saying that Oedipus didn't need eyes and removed them because, like a vestigial tail, they were useless. No worse, as they one day would fail. as if blindness were good because we can't see the badness. Well, missing the good causes 10 times more sadness. What was I angry at, though? Cold, cruel fate? No, that was too vague. I needed an enemy I could see, talk to, attack. And so I took aim at dementia itself. Oh, don't get too cocky, dementia, you beast. I'll bash and I'll slash and I'll wound you at least. Though killing you won't be so easy, I know. My father has tried, but he's little to show for his efforts to keep his brain ticking apace. It keeps ticking, but slower. You're winning that race. I hope that you're proud, and I hope that you sing when everyone's memory unravels like string. All of us losing our wits and our sanity, all for the sake of your monstrous vanity. 3 cheers, dementia, you've conquered humanity, now half extinct like the beautiful manatee. When I teach playwriting, I write on the board, drama is conflict. I explain that to live and breathe, the drama must be personified. Protagonist versus antagonist. In the drama I was living with my father, dementia was my antagonist, and I was personifying it. They say, death be not proud to the reaper when he takes a man or a woman deserving to be on this earth a while longer. Dementia, you too, be not proud of dementing the people you do. Be not proud anymore of your amyloid plaques, your tangles that stop neurons dead in their tracks. Be not proud of dementing good folks like my father. Be shamed by your deeds. Wait, dementia feeling shame? Who was I kidding? And who was I kidding that dementia could be defeated? The third stage of grief is supposedly the bargaining phase, but there was no bargaining with dementia. And as I realized that the antagonist I'd been fighting was myself, my own wishful presumption that Alzheimer's patients live in a blissful and eternal present tense, I plunged straight to grief's 4th stage of depression. Be shamed by your deeds? No, why? What's the bother? No shame on your part will restore my old dad. All that's left in his head is the love that he had for his son and his daughters, the woman he wed. And then I thought, love isn't nothing. It's something. In fact, love is a hell of a lot, and that gave me strength. All that's left in his head is the love that he had for his son and his daughters, the woman he wed. But it trumps you, dementia, this love in his head. So does our love for him. And if you have the gall to deny against evidence love conquers all, then you don't know what love is, how mighty and free, how it floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee, leaping tall buildings at one single bound. I once was lost, but now I am found in the cradle of this, of which you know not whereof. It's love, and it's us, of which it takes good care of. In the cradle of love, like a cradled child, a very young child, a baby. And what do babies and children do? They play. And so I handed my father his old harmonica, and he played. Oh, how he played. Note perfectly and with brio the old oaken bucket which he'd learned as a young boy, and I sang along. How dear to my heart are the scenes of my childhood when fond recollection presents them to view. The orchard, the meadow, the deep tangled wildwood, and every loved spot which my infancy knew. In his youth, my father had had a prodigious memory. He'd amazed his hometown by memorizing and reciting Robert Browning's complete The Pied Piper of Hamelin, 303 lines, 2,432 words at a school assembly. Remember that poem, I asked Dad now? "Rats," he replied instantly. They fought the dogs and killed the cats and bit the babies in the cradles and ate the cheeses out of the vats and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests inside men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. There's an old Sanskrit word, lila, which means play, or more specifically, divine play, which creates, destroys, and recreates all reality. In this both human and cosmic sense, lila means playful joy in the present moment. Lila also happens to mean love. In his wonderful book, Free Play, Stephen Nachmanovich calls lila the key to reviving our sense of wonder in the world. Through it, we can return home to our open-hearted and open-minded true selves. I began thinking that homecoming to our true selves might be a coming home from bemoaning half-empty glasses to accepting half-full ones, from micromanaging life in our logical left brains to embracing life in our intuitive right brains, from being rigidly antibiotic to more naturally probiotic, from fighting affliction to nurturing health. We would become playful, more so every day. And as we grew older, we'd be rediscovering our youth. You remember that poem, "Jenny Kissed Me," I asked my father? "Jenny kissed me," he said immediately. "Jenny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you thief who love to get sweets into your list, put that in." Dad could never recite that poem without his eyes moistening. Say I'm weary, say I'm sad, say that health and wealth have missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny kissed me. I'm a photographer as well as a writer. For years I'd been taking pictures of children. And now I was taking many of older persons. I'd concluded that instead of trying to guess at their mental states, I'd do better just photographing them, capturing them in eternally present tense images which would last longer than they or I would. Now, as I looked over these pictures of young and older people side by side, it struck me that while youth connotes exuberance, joy, innocence, and adventurousness, certain physical attitudes of young persons suggest the presence of nascent adult behaviors and states of mind. I saw that the line from youth to late adulthood, while often obscured by time and varieties of experience, can nevertheless be perceived as unbroken, especially in photographs which present early and latter stages of life as distant mirrors of each other. And I saw that this lifeline wasn't always straight and in the same forward direction. Sometimes when I caught older people at play, the line looped back to youth. I was still angry at dementia, but I no longer felt in a death struggle with it. In fact, I was almost sorry for it. Who cradles you, dementia? No one, that's the trouble. And oh, how it hurts me to burst your pink bubble. But you are alone and your heart is absconded while we are united in love, tightly bonded. When winds knock you down, we'll be standing up straight. Being filled up with love, we're the darlings of fate. Whereas you're stuffed with pride, wheresoever pride goeth. Before a hard fall, as soon you will knoweth. Viewed as a biological deterioration of the brain, Alzheimer's disease is terrifying, smelling of rot and decomposition. There's another way to see its biology, though, as fermentation, in which organic matter is not spoiled, but transformed, as are grapes into wine and milk into cheese. In his new book entitled Cooked, Michael Pollan cites Samuel Taylor Coleridge's secondary imagination, which dissolves, diffuses, and dissipates in order to recreate. Pollan likens this breaking down of ordinary consciousness to the wine-making process, in which yeasts break down plant sugars to create something more potent and stimulating, and to the wine drinking process, which, in moderation, can produce a less literal and more metaphorical perspective. Poetry, for example, in place of prose. In this very way, while my father had Alzheimer's, he and I moved from a prose relationship into one of poetry, which was no better or worse, just different, less literal and more metaphorical, where we engaged more in rhyme than in reason, freezing time initially, but then melting it and coming together in that lyrical middle realm between what had gone before and what was yet to be. It felt like grief's fifth stage of acceptance, for me at least, and I think for him, as he lived his last days and died in a state of peace. I realize my poem's a bit overwrought, my metaphors strained, and my similes not so convincing at times, and my making dementia a person whom I then destroy in absentia is really a stretch, but I'm just so high-wired. No secret, my poetic license expired last Tuesday, and I can't renew it until I am able to pay up my poetry bill. But I can't pay my bill if I can't find my checkbook. Could I be demented? No matter, oh heck, look, I've spoken enough. Now I'll leave you to ponder that down's sometimes up and yore becomes yonder. Don't fret past and future. Just throw that old clock out. When dementia fights love, love wins by a knockout. Thank you.